Greetings from Minnesota. I'm Colonel Bill Haynes, the new Minnesota Wing Commander, and it's my pleasure to share with you today some of the accomplishments and activities going on in our wing, as well as introduce you to our new Minnesota Wing Command Team. I never would have thought, back in January when Colonel A asked me to become the next Wing Commander, that one of the very first challenges we would face as a command team is dealing with this unprecedented, international, global pandemic that has so greatly affected all of us. Personally, academically, professionally, in our CAP lives, nobody is left untouched by this. It is quite the challenge. I'll tell you what though, even in the midst of this pandemic, many of our squadrons are really doing well. I've heard great reports about the success units are having with embracing new online technologies to meet, creating new and interesting ways to keep their members engaged, and staying in touch with one another. That is just excellent, and I couldn't be prouder of Minnesota Wing. In fact, Minnesota Wing won national acclaim by being one of the first, if not the first, units to have an online meeting visited by National Command staff. Our National Vice Commander General Ed Felka and our very own Region Commander Colonel A visited an online meeting of the Anoka County Composite Squadron, and they praised the experience. Well done. Again, couldn't be prouder of the units of Minnesota Wing. To help maintain and do our best to ensure that Minnesota Wing remains as engaged and active as possible, we have established an engagement task force, headed up by the Vice Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Pryor. This task force is assessing how units across the state can make the most of the challenging situations that they face when in-person meetings are just not possible. Once we are through the pandemic, and it will end one day, the task force will remain available to help and equip all of our squadrons, especially some of our rural squadrons, with technology and other tools to remain engaged. In Minnesota Wing, we believe the strength of CAP is in the people, and the people are, guess what, in the squadrons. So the strength of CAP is in the squadrons. Minnesota Wing staff are increasingly focused on engaging, serving, and supporting our 23 squadrons. Wing staff will be interacting with their squadron counterparts in new, meaningful, and helpful ways, conveying their knowledge and passion for their positions. Our squadrons will also benefit with the construction of our new Minnesota Wing training facility to be called Camp Craig. Minnesota Wing has been entrusted by our state legislature with a multi-million-dollar appropriation to bring this new capability to our members. The facility will be constructed at the Hutchinson Airport, about 70 miles west of the Twin Cities, and is planned to include not only hangar space, but the capability to house and feed our members during training activities that continue over weekends or otherwise over multiple days. This new facility will help further engage our pilots, our ES teams, our cadets and cadet programs, and our senior members, encouraging everyone toward greater involvement and participation in the important work that Minnesota Wing does for our community and state. In short, in Minnesota Wing, we seek to have engaged members engaging our communities. Members who are energized to see the bigger picture and pursue their chosen roles in our great organization with enthusiasm and excellence. You know, I could continue telling you myself about all the great people and accomplishments in Minnesota Wing, but I thought it might be better if you heard from our command team directly. So first, I'd like to introduce our new Minnesota Wing Vice Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Pryor. Lieutenant Colonel Pryor brings a wealth of squadron command experience and group command experience to his new role, and he is leading Minnesota Wing's groups and squadrons now with enthusiasm and excellence. Lieutenant Colonel Pryor, would you care to say a few words?
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Paul Pryor. I'm the Vice Commander for Minnesota Wing Civil Air Patrol. I want to share a little of my background, history of Civil Air Patrol, and some of our successes in 2019-2020. My history of Civil Air Patrol, a friend came to me who works in Parks and Recreation and said that he's a pilot and I'm a pilot and I should join Civil Air Patrol. I went out, joined the Civil Air Patrol in May 1992, and I've served as a Squadron Emergency Services Officer, Aerospace Education Officer. I was a Deputy Commander for Seniors, and I was a Squadron Commander. A few years ago, I became the Director of Aerospace Education for Minnesota Wing, and a year and a half ago, I became the Group 2 Commander. There's 6 units across the center part of the state of Minnesota from east to west. Some of our successes include 2019, we developed a aerospace program. It was called the Great Minnesota Wing Aerospace Fling. It was at the South St. Paul Airport at Minnesota Wing headquarters. We had 240 people participate in that program. Despite the bad weather, we had low overhanging clouds, we had intermittent rain and gusty winds all day. We had 20 aircraft scheduled to fly in on static display, but only one, the Minnesota State Patrol helicopter, actually flew in. Indoors, we had tours of the commemorative Air Force hangar, their museum, and their B-25 bomber, Miss Mitchell, and their T-6 Texan. We had multiple activities in the Minnesota Wing hangar. We had 8 stations with flight simulator computers. We had multiple STEM kits on display and demonstrations. Air and space. We had meteorology, and we had astronomy. We had aircraft identification. We gave away multiple books and magazines for free. We had an aviation theater upstairs in a conference room. We had aviation photography. We had 3 aircraft. We had a gyrocopter and a powered parachute and a balloon gondola basket with a burner on it. We took that outside and let the cadets and the senior members fire off the burner, and we heard a lot of history about how balloons operate from its pilot. We also had hovercraft inside the hangar. The cadets had built the hovercrafts, and so a couple of those were going around the floor and allowing youth and adults to ride on those. We also had a free lunch, and we had hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, bottled water, and we had an aviation-themed cake contest, and that was our dessert. In the afternoon, we had an RF Phantom 4 pilot that did reconnaissance, and he talked about his history in the military. This year, we're going to replicate that program and expand it and duplicate it. And unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic set in, so that program was postponed and then canceled. We're hoping to bring back a couple of things from Minnesota Wing that got canceled. Our aerospace activities, we were going to do a glider free flight program, and we were going to do the RC flight competition. And so maybe in June, July, and August, maybe into September, we could replicate those and do those on a squadron basis. Some of the successes this year have to do with the pandemic, ironically. We have, thanks to our Minnesota Wing commander, Colonel William Heens, he asked us to have a Minnesota Engagement Task Force. The task force was assigned to look at the engagement and the participation of members across the state of Minnesota. And we had 2 surveys and assessments done during the month of April and an ongoing assessment during the month of May here. And we asked all the squadrons, how are they doing? Are they seeing an increase or decrease in participation or attendance in programs? Are all the senior members and cadets engaged? How's it going? What can Minnesota Wing do to help them? What are the issues? What are the solutions we can develop? So with the challenge comes the opportunity. I think our volunteers across the wing that work with information technologies, they're stepping up and they're making sure their squadrons have what they need. I've heard of squadrons getting equipment, microphones, cameras, and so on out to squadron members that don't have that equipment. They FedEx it over to their house or something so that they've got that. So that's all I have. I'll hand it back to Colonel Bill Heens, and we can go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Pryor, for telling us all about the great Minnesota Wing Aerospace Fling and telling us how our squadrons are doing. Well done. I appreciate it. The new Minnesota Wing Chief of Staff is Major Otomo Da Silva. Most recently, Major Da Silva has been the commander of the Southeast Minnesota Composite Squadron in the Rochester area. That unit has thrived under his leadership, and he is leading the Minnesota Wing staff with the same passion and dedication that brought such success to his squadron. Major Da Silva, would you care to say a few words?
Hello, everyone. I am Major Otomo Da Silva, and it's my privilege to serve the Civil Air Patrol as the Minnesota Wing Chief of Staff. I could not possibly describe what an honor it is to oversee the volunteer service of our staff. They provide countless hours of their valuable time and expert skills, not to mention their deep well of knowledge and unmatched experience. This year, I am bringing the concept of mission readiness to the staff level. As the wing staff, we are to be prepared to meet the needs of the squadrons promptly and effectively. The squadrons are the heartbeat of the wing. Healthy squadrons make for a strong wing. This is an unprecedented time in the history of the Civil Air Patrol. We know what the challenges are. Let's apply our skills as well as our intellectual and emotional energy to meet them. It is a privilege to serve with you.
Thank you, Major Da Silva, for introducing yourself and for sharing some of your passion and vision for Civil Air Patrol. Finally, rounding out our command team is Senior Master Sergeant John Vanderhoof. John remains Minnesota Wing's senior NCO. The NCO Corps is the backbone of any Civil Air Patrol wing, and Senior Vanderhoof brings great history, experience, and information to the table. In fact, he's already earned himself a call sign. You know, when we can all get together someday, ask me what the call sign is and what it means. I'll be glad to tell you. In the meantime, Senior Vanderhoof, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Senior Master Sergeant John Vanderhoof, the Minnesota Wing Command NCO. I'm really excited to see what the next 4 years has in store for Minnesota Wing under Colonel Haynes' leadership. Based on the groundwork laid by Colonel Garlow, we're continuing to work on our wing training facility that we've named Camp Craig. Minnesota Wing has some of the most dedicated and proficient volunteers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Camp Craig will give us the opportunity to use their experience to develop an education and training program that will benefit every member of the wing. The idea is not just to increase numbers of people signed off, but to raise the already high proficiency level across the organization. I also see the opportunity for outside agencies to take advantage of Camp Craig. I see community emergency response teams and law enforcement coming to Camp Craig to learn from the experts. It's going to be a tremendous resource for Minnesota and for the North Central region. Obviously, COVID-19's had a big impact on how we do business here in Minnesota. Originally, I was really worried that engagement of members would drop off and people would start to stray away from the organization. Based on what I hear from phone calls, emails, and participating in squadron video meetings, I don't think that's really happening. If anything, I think people are becoming closer together, reaching out to other squadrons, developing best practices as we go here. But I think it's really bringing the organization closer together. I hope we maintain those tight lines of communication once this current pandemic is over. I must say that the team that Colonel Hayes has put together, Vice Commander Lieutenant Colonel Pryor, and Major Da Silva, was an excellent choice on his part. These are some incredibly dedicated and brilliant individuals, and I'm going to have some trouble trying to keep up with these guys, to be quite honest with you. But I'm really excited to see what the future holds. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Senior Vanderhoof, John, for introducing yourself and for sharing with the group. I appreciate it. Well, that concludes our update from the land of 10,000 lakes, home of Minnesota Wing. I truly look forward to the day when we can all meet together in person once again. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.